reports have emerged that Victor Osimhen, who was supposed to go to the Saudi Pro League, supposedly that deal has now collapsed. And there were suggestions that Darwin Nunez had then become a target for the Saudi Pro League, but now some reports have also suggested that Darwin Nunez would much prefer to stay in Europe. We know that prices from that league have generally been inflated, but would Nunez be open to a move there? And if not, what sort of fee could Liverpool expect from a paying club in Europe? Because I know teams like Atletico Madrid have been linked with him too.
Yeah, this is one of the kind of difficult things to unpick, really, is if the player is so keen on the Saudi Pro League. I mean, I know, he was relatively close to going there in January, so it can't be completely kind of outside of his idea to maybe try it and to go there. He was quite keen in January, and if Liverpool had sanctioned that move, he would have gone basically. And the money was on the table for them from Al Hilal to do that deal in January, but for they obviously turned that down because they wanted to keep him around till the end of the season. I think the goals against Brentford, goal against Southampton maybe justified that stance, and you could have got an injury that would have meant he played more. It was a sensible move to make sure that they got the title win over the line. But obviously now it's the summer and things have changed slightly. Osimhen is on the radar for Al Hilal. They seem to be really keen to kind of push for him. And if that doesn't go through, then maybe Nunez comes back on the agenda. But it's an interesting one, really, because I'm reading a lot of conflicting reports. I mean, there's a journalist I know who's fairly sharp on Saudi Pro League, Ismail Mahmoud, who has suggested that Nunez is no longer on Al Hilal's list. And yet I'm reading other reports saying that they will go for him as an alternative. So very, very hard to unpick that. And I can't vouch for the players' kind of wishes, because I do know in January he was quite keen to go, but maybe things have changed. Maybe on the his family side of things, that maybe they're not a keenness to go there. And if they can stay in Europe, specifically move to Spain, I believe that might be something that appeals. But it's quite hard to unpick the truth in this situation at the moment, really. So in terms of what's whether he's willing to go to Saudi, I guess we're going to kind of, certainly if it's Al Hilal, we're going to probably find out in the next 24 hours, because he's got to get that done today if he's going to feature in the Club World Cup. So we'll keep an eye out on that. In terms of what Liverpool demanding, that's an interesting one, because obviously I think the baseline valuation that they were putting on him originally was something kind of 65, 70 million, something like that. But whether they're going to get that or not is a big question. They could possibly get that from Saudi, but I think if he does dig his heels and he wants to go to Europe, then I think you're going to be looking for something closer to kind of 50, 45, because clubs in Europe can't spend those amounts of money. So I think that's one reason Liverpool would prefer him to go to Saudi. But like I say, it's very, very much up in the air and not easy to kind of unpick what the truth is around all this one at the moment. So just kind of one where you've got to wait and see how it plays out.
Absolutely. But I will say 45, 50 million doesn't seem too bad a price to me, considering he hasn't exactly been a success since he's been at Liverpool. So I wouldn't necessarily be angry at that price.
Well, yeah. And another aspect as well is where they're up to in terms of amortizing his contract as well. So it would probably, if they get around 40 million or so, would probably even things out, level them up really in terms of where they're up to with paying him off, because he's got another 3 years left. So that would probably be the magic number, because they don't make a loss on him there. So yeah, they'll be hoping that that's where they can get as a bare minimum, and if they can push him to Saudi, they'll probably get a bit more and maybe make a bit of a profit. So yeah, we'll see who's in for him in the end.
As we've just talked about, we do all expect Darwin Nunez to actually leave Liverpool in the summer, but basically every single other attacker other than Salah, who obviously signed that new contract, has been linked with a move away. And you even had reports that Bayern Munich have registered an interest in Cody Gakpo. So you've mentioned that it's going to be a summer of change at Liverpool. And I wanted to ask you, if you were pushed to say of Diaz, Jota and Gakpo, and I didn't include Chiesa there because we all expect Chiesa to leave as well, which one of those three do you think is most likely to join Nunez out the door, if any of them?
I would say Diaz is the likeliest, and not on the basis that I think they'll push him out the door, because I think this, people get confused about that and the idea that Liverpool want to get rid of him. It's certainly not the case. If they get another season of Diaz, they'd be absolutely happy with that, because he's played multiple positions, brilliant attitude, good player, arguably second most important forward last season. So they're by no means kicking him out the door. It's just that with 2 years left on his contract, he wants to earn more. Maybe there's a decision to get given to make, but someone has to do it. So But the reason that feels likeliest out of any of them is because there is that interest there, and Al Nassr are sniffing about, and they are willing to offer big money to get him. So, and money that would make Liverpool think, well, we don't necessarily, we're not kicking him out the door, but can we turn that down for the age, the amount of contract left, where he's up to, his desire to go, which we imagine will be there because he'll want to up his wages. So he feels the likeliest, and it's just very hard, I think, to see Jota generating enough interest to give Liverpool a decision to make, because he's just had so many injuries recently, and I think he can have a better season next season if he can stay fit. But it's just hard to see anyone coming in at a fee that would make Liverpool think, yeah, we want to completely overhaul our attack this summer. It's better to go in stages if possible. And with Gakpo, I think, where he's up to contract-wise, age-wise, the season he had, and the fact he's getting better and better, there may be that Bayern Munich interest in him, but I really can't see anything kind of coming of that, really, because I just think Liverpool will be slightly more steadfast in refusing that, because, like I said, there's so many doubts over other players, and you maybe want to leave yourself open to potentially letting Jota go if that's an option late in the window. And if you already have sold Gakpo kind of against your will, then you're not really leaving yourself the room to do that. So, yeah, that's why we'll put Diaz highest of any of them, really.